Questions, anyone?
Nope. Nope.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes, thank you. Next item is the financial report, which we've been trying to find time for. The last couple of meetings, the 2023 financial report, we wanted to just have some time to talk about it. So that's why it's on tonight's agenda. And Mark, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Guitar solo now.
Wow.
So the audit, I have the audit, it's supposed to be this week, but we'll move it to next week, but basically everything in here. So, I don't know.
Jackson, are we okay here with sound or?
Yes, I just forgot to put one effect, so it was
Okay.
very quiet on our end. I was like, why?
I'm getting a little feedback now again, though.
Yeah, now we have feedback.
Yeah. So the general fund, this sheet.
Let me just interrupt a minute. Brad, we already covered your item.
CI council.
There at the time, hi.
I'm trying to send him a note. Yeah, Brad,
So-
you're all approved for next meeting, Brad.
Yeah,
You're
if
good to
you
go.
want to wait till council, come back in council, that'd be fine.
Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us.
Can you hear us, Brad?
I don't think you can. Okay, let's see.
I don't know why it isn't showing us as the main thing on the screen either. Oh, you've got it
Hello.
there.
Here.
Hello. It sounds like it's still there, isn't
I'm not sure if Brad can hear us. We asked him to, if
To
he
log
could,
on.
and he hasn't
Yep.
said anything.
All right, let's begin now.
Oh.
All right, testing,
Brad,
testing.
I don't know if you can hear us. We've already covered your item.
Yeah, you're.
Oh, I didn't hear that, no.
Oh, okay, you're good. We had some trouble with the sound, man, so on
Yeah.
our end, so you're good to go
Oh,
for
okay.
council. So,
It was the first thing on the agenda, and Neil explained it, but yeah, so why don't, you're fine to just sign off till council meeting.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Oscar, say
see you,
bye-bye.
Oscar.
Bye, Oscar. All
See you
right,
guys in a little bit.
okay. Mark,
it? Yeah. So the general fund, basically did have a surplus this year on page 15 at the very end, 232,000. We had a surplus, and it was for a variety of reasons. Kind of the first page, page 5, just kind of going through the general. There's some stuff that we adjusted for in the 24 budget in the beginning. But I didn't highlight everything I probably should have. But license permits, you were $83,000 over what we budgeted. Just we had a large permit came in at the end of the year for White Horse properties down there in that area, and then the right-of-way permits. Permits there were 35,000 over. We thought they would drop off, but they keep on. TDS and AT&T keep on coming back, so we keep on recharging them when they do come back. So that was part of the plus. Fines and forfeitures, we're still not back to the pre-COVID level, but we are from our what we budgeted, and we did adjust the 2024 budget. Page 6, a couple things we're just waiting on. So when the fire protection fees, so when the fire trucks goes out and does stuff on the belt line, we get reimbursed from the state. Talked to the chief about this, and the state is way behind in sending their payments out, so we'll get the money next year. It'll be in next year's budget. So that was the reason for that. Interest income, $207,000 over. We did adjust in 2024. Under transfers, other financing sources, you transfer for tourism. So there is a grandfathered amount and with the Airbnbs and with the hotels and just inflation with the higher prices, we did exceed that number, so we get to keep 30%, so there was a little bit of an increase.
So that's, we don't have to make any change to keep that, we just get to keep whatever
We get to keep it,
exceeds the
yeah,
number?
because
Okay.
it's either 30% or the grandfather number,
Good to know.
whatever higher is.
Wait, we get 30% of the total?
Yeah, so the way the law was written, we would get 30% of the total, total room tax revenues for the year.
Right.
So,
Or the grandfather.
or the grandfather
And
amount.
Now they've exceeded the grandfather.
Yeah.
Okay.
so, yeah. I assume that's gonna keep on happening.
I hope so.
No, there was also a transfer from the, it says it's communication rec, community rec program of 48,000. So that basically what happens at the end of the year, he doesn't get, Jake and Diane don't get to keep their surplus, it goes back to the general fund. So basically what that ends up meaning is they were $48,000 over budget surplus, so that was sent back to the general fund.
Nice.
Does that help balance some of their other,
So,
where they didn't meet the budget,
well, they, even all their other expenses like the.
or is everything else okay?
Yeah, everything else was okay. And if you kind of, I forgot to talk about this, the miscellaneous revenues, there's donations. You'll see 29,000, we budgeted 15. That is the Friends donation for their share of work that was
What page are
done.
you on?
Page 6,
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
underneath,
Miscellaneous revenue.
Oh, the 15,000 for the library.
no, the donations, there's 29,000 we actually received, and we budgeted 15. So I made the addition, all that money came from the Friends to help with the labor, all the costs for San Damiano.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's what that's reimbursing right there. So in the end, the city was, that was all, everything out there was actually covered by the Friends for 2023.
Now, I thought the bill that we sent them was 30-something.
After I went through and did all the, made sure the invoices were correct, that's what it came to.
It came to 15,
Came to
to
29,000.
29, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
there was a couple invoices that were not actually related to that, so I had to back them away. So kind of the expenses on page 7, I kind of wrote what next if they're okay. Way to do the expenses, we look in total, you know, there's gonna be some line items that are higher, some are lower, but you kind of look at it in total. But legal, there's, on page 7, there's always a lot of small cases that add up, and just to transition when, with the city administrators, there's usually a little bit higher than usual. So hopefully, we did budget a little bit more for 2024, but that's why it was up. Underneath that, legal non-retainers, that's our CIVMIC. We had a couple little police case, or one police case came through, and that's majority of that. The CIVMIC covers that cost up to a certain dollar amount. Page 8, personnel, health insurance, retiree was a lot higher. And this will be back down again for 24. Just we had a lot of retirees that were still on the sick leave conversion. Some of them are no longer on there anymore. That'll be a decrease for 24. Page 9, just kind of data processing, software program services. That's our IT support. That, this line is way over, but, you know, it's one of those things, if they don't come in, we're down for days. And just, so we did adjust it in the referendum. It's one of those things we're looking at. But it is a critical one, regardless if the referendum doesn't go through, or if it does. It's one that we have to increase the cost here for 25. We did a little bit increase it for 24, but we'll have to take a look again for 25, because there's just so much IT stuff nowadays in the city.
Yeah.
Page 11, fire, page, just kind of hit the ones kind of over and wide. Page 10, police department's over by 20,000. I kind of made a note. This, I know I said the retirees' health insurance went in one account over prior, but these got opt-out, so these go into their ICMAs. It's a one-time payment. So they had 2 officers retired that weren't budgeted for, and that's basically the 33,000, what that is. So otherwise, they would have been under budget for that. Fire protection, we are a little bit over on that, 37,000. A lot of that's, as you can see, related to equipment maintenance and repairs, 63,000, so it's 43,000 over what they budgeted for.
And that's, excuse me, Mark, that's for the vehicles,
It's for all the engines, and the
not
vehicles.
the building.
No,
Now, we did submit insurance claims for some of those, right?
We
Did we
did.
get any kind of payment, or?
yeah, there's a lot, there's net of those insurance payments that are in there, so a lot of this is,
So
this is,
that's net of the insurance
Yeah.
payments?
page 12, it kind of goes with 13. Page 13, we see street maintenance is $73,000 over budget, but the net effect, you get to add the shop, highway, engineering, and forestry, roads repaired. So the net effect is we're 33,000 over budget for that. So, but the net was not, that's what the net was. So if you go to page 13, you'll see the street maintenance is 72, but that's for that. But the net, it was overall with 33,000 over. A lot of it, again, street equipment, repairs on page 13, $17,000 over. That was a large repair needed for one of the snow plows. That was a lot of the cost. And just snow and ice, with the snow going, with the inflation going up. So those two lines together, 23,000 right there of that. So page 14, the parks. So you talk about Jake's, his parks budget, who's actually still under budget at the same time. So you're gonna add the 48 plus the 8 for his real savings for the year. So yeah, on page 15, you see we're $232,000 in the plus with that year end. Page 18, the library, just kind of, unless you have questions on the general fund, I'm going to hit the other kind of funds. Just the overall, kind of looking at page 18 and 19 is the library. The library came in basically $7,000 under budget, so that would go into their fund balance with that. They did have a savings when Sally left, and they had another person with their Sally if their health insurance was the savings, but they did reallocate some of that throughout the other funds. And then outside services it was part of that too for $9,600. That was a DEI program they did that was basically paid out of their fund balance. So if you had the $9,600 plus almost $7,000, that was really what they really would have been 15,000 in the plus, but they used 9,600 for this DEI program. It's a one-year program. Cable, page 21. We did end up showing a $14,500 loss, and I round here. We did project to use fund balance, so in the end, there actually was a small net gain, if you kind of look at it that way, of $1,500 with that. Page 22 is a summary of what I call Fund 204, which is the community center, the rec, senior center, outdoor pool. So you can kind of see here, the community center was $3,200 in the whole, but there was a large maintenance repair that was needed. That was basically almost $6,000. They had some issues with the plumbing. I don't know if you know, there was a gas smell coming through. They had to kind of break the walls down and fix it in the plumbing area. The rec department is where, majority of the $75,000 and the plus. Senior center was $2,300, and then the outdoor pool, which is a variable every year, was $26,000 in the whole, which is covered by the rec surplus on that.
I just wanted to kind of underline that, if I could, the rec part of that only only uses about 52,000 in property taxes and gets 835,000 total revenue. So that, yeah, and their surplus kind of carries up, makes up for and more
Yeah,
all the other departments, because, the pool is always gonna lose money, and the community center doesn't produce that much revenue, nor the senior center. So-
yeah, and a lot of it too is the way Jakes does his programs.
Right.
Basically, the property taxes too is, if you add up the pool, the property tax, and the rec and community center, it's basically, that's basically just their salaries for their main, so that'd be like their Jake and Missy and Jessica. Otherwise, most of their revenues are is covered by the revenues will cover the part-time services and basically all the other operating costs. So he
Right.
does a really good job with that, and
Yeah.
knows how to do cost analysis, so kudos to him. Page 27, 28 is the EMS fund. We did take a little bit of a loss there, 94,000, but we did budget a loss of 40,000. So the net loss is 54,000. Part of it was the revenues just came in a little bit under by 16,000. We did use some grant money. I should actually reduce it again by another 20,000. So if you look at EMS assistant program assistance, 34,000. That's, we need to next year have a budget number there. We did get grant money to cover that.
What is that?
So they get, well, part of there was two things that happened. They got extra ARPA money from the state they can only use for fire. So it's like for training, and they could buy special equipment with it,
Okay.
with that. So that's kind of what that is.
And Jerry's been applying for some grants too, right?
Yeah, it's, yeah. The ARPA money's done. It was kind of it was a one-year thing. Page 29 is the tourism. Just for the general, as you can see, the hotel tax, we made about almost 600,000, 584,000 in revenues. And then there's expenses that happened in years and transferred to the general fund on page 30. What was available, even though the net income says 202,000, some of that 200,000 is from last year for the expenditures. They had 481,000 basically went into their fund balance. So that's still available for grants.
So that's the tourism
Isn't that
commission
ridiculous?
has 481,000.
481.
It was more than that, but that's what it's, as of right now, it's 481. It was 600 some thousand.
Just,
We do have 6 more applications to review, is the good news, so we have had some more requests for second quarter,
you
so.
got some for the parade expenses, right?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
And for the.
Yeah, they're already, that's already
festival,
in.
yeah.
Festival just came in
Good.
this round here, yeah. So, we'll take
481.
one of those.
What's the festival ask for, though? Much?
I don't know what they asked for this year. That would be more for Neil. He gets them all.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt there's, there's maybe some good programs that can be funded with it, but I can't, I mean, I don't know what they would have to come up with to spend that money.
Yeah.
Mm.
And here we are going to referendum because we can't afford to operate.
Right.
Yeah.
Frustrating.
Except the legislature's answer to that, Alder, would be, well, you need to reduce your tax.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
That's, unfortunately, that's what they would tell us. So it actually behooves us to certainly find something to invest the funds into. And right now, certainly brief discussion with the mayor, I think the hotels are pretty satisfied with how we're investing the money. They're, as the commission is working with them, and
Right.
some of the changes we're doing this year to kind of actually more directly promote the hotels. So I actually think they've been pretty supportive so far. There are probably some opportunities, I think, in terms of doing some additional marketing
Yeah.
and some other things. But yeah, it would be awful nice to be able to use that money for other things. I certainly don't disagree with that one bit.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, I think it does make sense to look at the rates, because why, just keep piling up the money.
Mm. Do we get to
Obviously, the
use,
only advantage is since we're over our grandfather
Yeah,
amount, we get
right.
a little money,
Yeah.
but.
do we get to keep the interest on that fund?
We do.
We
I
do,
I keep
okay.
it in the general
Well, that's a
fund.
plus.
Yeah.
All right.
But does that have to stay in the fund?
No, I keep it in the general fund,
Oh,
Okay, good.
Okay, well, that's something.
Mhm.
because we do all the work.
Oh, okay.
Well,
That's
that's
what I
good
look
to
at. Yeah, and I can send you what the grants have been approved for 2024 if you want to see them. I have a list that we can send out. Page 31, for some reason, this fund doesn't print out right, so I had to just print the trail balance, which is, or page 31, this is the solid waste fund. We did take a loss on that because of the rebate program. So a $12,000 loss, that was mainly just because of the rebate program. Well, I think we budgeted 45,000, which is the difference, the loss on that.
Are we gonna, excuse me, are we gonna have the rebate program with Pelletier? We're not.
No, it's gone.
No one's doing it anymore.
No.
Unfortunately not.
Page 32, I just kind of want to hit on this one. I know we're running short in time here. Is debt service, page 32 is, so the interest in dividends is almost basically half, same as what we get for the general fund. So basically, as you can see, it's 342,000 this year. So basically what happens is that I have money sitting in there. So basically what happened, it was that for some reason capital projects this year, more than usual, none of the projects happened in 2023. Like we have over $2 million of, basically $2 million of projects that didn't happen in 2003 that were borrowed for. Couple examples was, Atwood Road, we still haven't paid for, we haven't been billed yet. The Leopold, the Schaefer Shelter, then there was the Maywood Park, the walk. They were delayed until 24, so we basically had all this money in there. So that was building up, and we did have some extra money in the TIF fund, or in the debt service fund. So that's why it's such a large number. And we also have, we got the money from the county after we were to make the money payment for the San Damiano, the $2 million. So that's sitting in there. It's adding interest on there. So when we refinance, I'll keep the interest separated, and we'll reduce that band even lower once
Okay,
we
that's good.
redo it. So,
Most of this money, I assume, will be spent this year, right?
for,
Project money?
yes.
Okay.
I mean, we'll get caught up this year.
So if you kind of look at the capital projects at 35 through 37 or 8, you'll see there's a lot of COs, which is carryovers. A lot of, projects in there. We also have plow trucks, different types of trucks that were ordered, laid and hold,
That's
remodeled.
true, because a lot of those have been put on hold, haven't they? other than-
Remodel of the community center, we still haven't, waiting on that. So there's a lot of projects that were put on hold. Streetlight conversion, another one. So you add them all up, it was about $2 million even at the end of the year. So that money is being spent now fairly quickly, but 2023, that was the issue. I'm just gonna run, so everything else, on page 39, one last thing. Parkland Dedication Fund, that's the money when they pay, they have to pay a payment in lieu of Parkland fees. So this is just one payment, one building permit. We'll start to see it once everybody comes in for their permits for 2024. This number will probably end of the year, in 2024, we'll have a nut fund balance probably around 400,000.
Oh, okay, well, that'll be good.
So, I don't know if you have any questions on the other ones. I made a lot of kind of notes where they were.
I do still want to talk and get a better idea of this fire EMS numbers.
Sure. Yeah.
But and that's nothing we need to go into right now. But basically, we ended with a surplus? Is that what you
Yeah,
said,
we ended up
right?
surplus. Yep.
What was that total amount again?
For the general fund, it was 232,000.
232.
Yep.
All right, well, any further questions for Mark?
Nope.
Patrick, got anything?
Nope.
You want to just do the bills really quickly here, Mark?
Yeah, there wasn't much, a lot of it's the same stuff. Honestly, didn't really have much when I was looking through it.
I didn't see anything that jumped out, really.
No. Page 74, in the city treasurer, the Muffin, we still pay for the Muffin fiber. There's a bunch of trucks we just bought that are included in here that were part of the capital. Other than that, everything else is pretty straightforward.
Anybody have any questions about the bills?
Nope.
Is there a motion to accept the bills?
Motion to accept the bills?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes. Is there a motion to, any staff updates?
Just the festival requested $15,000.
That's
Oh,
it.
I did look up that grant, so that's what they're requested here.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Some of the,
There's 3 minutes to spare.
just the races are in date.